Everyone's bored of Bitcoin, and that's exactly what the elites want. Everyone's talking about Bitcoin, or rather, everyone isn't. The price hasn't moved much lately, and people are getting bored. Bored of waiting, bored of charts, bored of headlines that promise and fail to deliver. But what if the story is much bigger than it seems? While the masses yawn and scroll endlessly, a very different story is quietly unfolding behind the scenes. A story the media won't tell you because they don't know, or maybe because they can't. This is the invisible phase of Bitcoin accumulation that most people miss. You see, while retail investors complain and wait for the next pump, institutions are quietly stacking Bitcoin methodically, silently, without fanfare, and almost no one notices. This isn't hype, it's strategy, a patient, long-term approach that only the most informed players truly understand. The irony is brutal. Everyone focuses on price because it's easy to see, but price is just a reflection, not the full picture, not the real story behind Bitcoin's invisible growth, the accumulation that actually shapes its long-term trajectory, and the masses remain oblivious. So why does it feel like nothing is happening? Why do you see sideways charts, small fluctuations, and endless speculation while big players quietly accumulate in the background? Because this isn't a normal market, and the visible price never tells the whole story. Bitcoin is the ultimate financial outlier, the one asset no one can fully control, yet some can influence quietly if you understand the hidden mechanics. The accumulation phase is invisible to most, and only those paying attention see the quiet preparation shaping the future of Bitcoin. Let me take you behind the curtain to the hidden accumulation phase, where whales, institutions, and some governments quietly prepare for something massive, something no one else can see yet. While everyone else complains about stagnation, the real story is unfolding invisibly, and you can witness it. Most people think accumulation is obvious, expecting massive buy orders, public announcements, and hype. But real accumulation happens quietly, in small increments over months, sometimes years, unnoticed by the casual observer, leaving the impatient and uninformed to wonder why nothing seems to happen on the charts. And here's the kicker. The more bored everyone gets, the easier it is for smart money to load up, because fear, doubt, and impatience keep retail traders on the sidelines, allowing the hidden accumulation to continue, silently, methodically, until the stage is set for the next major phase. The headlines tell you Bitcoin is stagnant, that nothing is happening, that hype is over, and people believe it. Boredom is convincing, even addictive, but it hides the invisible story of accumulation, the slow, steady buying by the players who actually control the trajectory, far from the public eye. In reality, Bitcoin's foundation is quietly changing, and those who understand it, the real insiders, know exactly what is happening. They watch the charts, understand the wallets, track accumulation quietly, knowing that the sideways phase isn't boredom, it's the calm before the storm that sets the stage for massive future moves. The question is, will you stay bored on the sidelines waiting for visible price moves? Or will you open your eyes to the hidden game, the quiet accumulation that no one else is talking about? The part of Bitcoin that determines its future, not its present, for those who are patient enough to see it? Price action doesn't matter in the short term. Accumulation does. And the bigger the players, the slower and quieter it happens. While everyone else chases hype and headlines, the institutions quietly build positions, unseen, unnoticed, and far ahead of the masses who measure value only by price. This is why the average investor feels exhausted, frustrated, trapped. We're taught to chase charts, hype, and temporary excitement, never realizing that patience is the real power in Bitcoin. And those who understand the accumulation phase are quietly winning, while everyone else complains about boredom. Meanwhile, the accumulation phase is quietly shaping Bitcoin's future. Every small increment purchased silently builds a foundation outside the reach of panic, noise, and hype. And the irony is brutal. Those who are bored and frustrated are exactly the ones missing the secret story, the invisible move happening right under their noses. This quiet accumulation phase is exactly what Bitcoin was designed for. Slow, unstoppable adoption, outside the reach of panic and emotion, allowing smart money to build positions unnoticed, while everyone else focuses on what is easy to see: the price, the charts, the temporary drama that has no long-term significance. Those who truly understand Bitcoin don't need excitement. They don't need adrenaline or the fear of missing out. They understand time, patience, and the long game, quietly watching as the accumulation phase builds the future, while the impatient masses scroll, complain, and lose focus on the real story unfolding. So while everyone else complains about boredom, smart money smiles. Every day the masses lose interest. Every day the wallets quietly fill. Every day the stage is set. The accumulation continues, invisible and unstoppable, leaving the impatient behind while the informed quietly grow their positions. When the next move comes, when the price finally catches up to reality, those who were bored and sold will be left behind, while the patient, informed few will reap the rewards, all because they understood the calm before the storm, the invisible accumulation that most people ignore. This is why Bitcoin feels stagnant to most, and why everyone is tired of watching charts. But it's also why Bitcoin is stronger than ever, quietly, relentlessly accumulating, while no one notices, building a foundation for a future phase that few can predict, and even fewer can see coming. The sideways market, the boredom, the lack of headlines, all of it is deliberate, in a sense. It's the perfect camouflage for the accumulation phase, the quiet period where history is written invisibly, without media coverage, without hype, and outside the reach of retail panic, leaving only the patient ahead. Every scroll through Twitter, every Bitcoin is dead headline, all of it is a distraction. Meanwhile, institutions quietly scoop up coins, stacking them for the next wave. A wave that will arrive long after the masses have given up, long after the boredom has convinced people to leave the market behind. The more bored you feel, the better it is for smart money. Boredom is camouflage, allowing accumulation to continue unnoticed, the quiet building of massive positions, invisible to most, while those who understand the hidden game quietly prepare, knowing that patience now will yield extraordinary results later. Retail investors get exhausted because they focus on the wrong things: hype, charts, temporary spikes. Meanwhile, smart money focuses on the fundamentals, the invisible truth, the accumulation phase that most people can't see, quietly building Bitcoin's future, while the impatient complain about boredom and stagnation. Institutions buy Bitcoin quietly at levels most people dismiss as boring because they understand the bigger picture. They don't care about today's price or last week's hype. They care about the decades-long trajectory, the invisible accumulation, and the slow but unstoppable growth that no one else sees yet. Price doesn't matter to them, and hype is irrelevant. They focus on fundamentals, patience, and discipline. They know the sideways market is a gift, a quiet window to accumulate while the masses are exhausted, distracted, bored, and blind to the invisible forces shaping Bitcoin's future. Exhaustion and boredom are the keys to this phase. The more frustrated retail investors become, the easier it is for institutions to quietly grow positions. And the irony is clear. The very emotions that drive people away from Bitcoin are what allow it to accumulate, invisibly, powerfully, unstoppable. The smartest players understand that accumulation is the real game, not price. While the crowd panics, chases, and complains, the informed quietly build positions. Bitcoin grows silently, methodically, and invisibly, outside the noise of mainstream media, beyond the reach of impatient traders, in a way most people will never understand. The accumulation phase is the invisible engine driving Bitcoin's growth. While the world focuses on drama, price, and volatility, smart money quietly prepares for the next major phase: quietly amassing positions, patiently waiting for the moment when everyone else finally notices, and the real gains begin. When that moment arrives, the masses will panic, the media will scramble, and those who sold out of boredom will be left behind. Meanwhile, those who saw the hidden accumulation, who understood the patience and discipline required, will be miles ahead, positioned perfectly for the next big wave in Bitcoin. This is the ultimate lesson about Bitcoin. It rewards patience, understanding, and knowledge. Not hype, not excitement, not emotion. And the accumulation phase, the boring, silent, invisible phase, is exactly what separates the winners from the rest of the crowd, the informed from the distracted. Bitcoin's most important movements happen quietly, invisibly, outside of hype, headlines, and public panic. Understanding this is key. The sideways phase isn't stagnation. It's the hidden engine building the future. And those who understand it will reap the rewards when the storm finally arrives. When you feel bored, frustrated, or exhausted, that's exactly what the system is supposed to make you feel. Because boredom hides opportunity, and opportunity is invisible to those who only follow charts, news, and hype, leaving the patient few quietly ahead. Every exhausted retail trader, every bored investor, every skeptic, they all make the same mistake. They focus on the wrong things. Meanwhile, institutions quietly build positions, focusing on fundamentals, patience, and the invisible accumulation that most people will never notice. But that shapes everything in the long term. Bitcoin doesn't need hype to grow. It needs understanding, discipline, and patience. The invisible accumulation phase is ongoing, building silently while everyone else is distracted, scrolling, complaining, and losing focus, leaving the few who pay attention miles ahead, quietly winning while the masses chase noise. The hidden accumulation phase is exactly what everyone's missing right now. The calm before the storm, the invisible stacking of positions, the quiet phase shaping Bitcoin's future. And those who understand it will benefit far more than those who only chase visible price action or hype-driven momentum. When the next big move comes, the world will panic, the media will scream, and everyone who was bored and uninformed will be left behind. Meanwhile, the patient and informed will already be positioned, having quietly profited from a phase most people dismissed as boring and uneventful. While everyone else complains, scrolls, and yawns, the informed quietly prepare, quietly accumulate, and quietly win. They don't need hype. They don't chase charts. They understand the hidden story, the invisible accumulation, the calm patience that will reward them when Bitcoin finally explodes. You can be part of this story, but not by chasing hype, excitement, or temporary spikes. You participate by understanding patience, observation, and the invisible accumulation phase. The quiet story shaping the future of Bitcoin, far beyond what headlines and charts can show you. This is your chance to see what most people never will. The quiet phase where history is written invisibly. The accumulation phase that sets the stage for extraordinary gains. And the calm, the boredom, the sideways charts are all part of the process, if you know where to look. Boredom and frustration aren't obstacles. They're signals. They indicate the quiet accumulation phase is in effect, that the stage is being set for something massive, something most people won't see until it hits, leaving the uninformed behind while the patient few quietly reap the rewards. Remember, Bitcoin rewards patience, not noise, understanding, not hype, awareness, not emotion. And the accumulation phase, the phase everyone calls boring, is exactly what makes Bitcoin's next big move possible, silently, invisibly, outside of mainstream attention. And for those who notice, incredibly powerful. When the market finally reacts, the crowd will panic, hype will erupt, and those who didn't understand the accumulation phase will be left behind. Meanwhile, the informed few who observe the calm, the patience, the invisible story will have positioned themselves miles ahead, quietly winning. The accumulation phase is the secret engine of Bitcoin's long-term growth, the invisible story nobody tells, the boring sideways period that shapes extraordinary future gains, and the few who understand it now will benefit enormously when the market finally recognizes the hidden moves. So the next time you feel bored, exhausted, or frustrated by Bitcoin, know that this is exactly what the smart money wants. The calm, the boredom, the patience. All of it is part of the accumulation phase that positions the few for massive, long-term advantage. This is the ultimate paradox. What feels boring and stagnant is actually the most important phase. The hidden accumulation, the phase that separates the winners from the impatient crowd, the informed from the distracted, and the long-term players from everyone else chasing charts and hype. Don't chase price, don't chase hype. Chase knowledge, patience, and understanding. That is where the real opportunity is. The invisible accumulation phase, the calm before the storm, the quiet moment that will define Bitcoin's next major move, and the few who notice will profit enormously. When the storm finally comes, those who were bored and frustrated will panic, the media will scream, and the uninformed will scramble to catch up. Meanwhile, those who understood patience, the accumulation phase, and the hidden story will already be miles ahead, quietly positioned for massive gains. Subscribe, like, and share this video if you want to be part of the few who truly understand Bitcoin, because the most powerful moves are silent, invisible, and unseen by the masses. But for those who pay attention, the rewards will be extraordinary, and the future belongs to the patient.